Welcome to Life Change Solutions, podcast for hope, health, and happiness. Today, I have a very special guest. She and I met as we were facilitators for the Mind Body Medicine groups. And she was still getting her certification, and I was in my final group to get mine. So thank you for being my facilitator, my co-facilitator for that. She really was instrumental in me getting that certification. So I'd like to introduce to you Joanne Wallace.
Hi.
And you know what? I am going to let you tell a little bit about yourself. I let them know we met through Mind Body Medicine, right. And we were kind of put together. And we didn't know this. This is a really fun fact. We both have the same birthdays. And our birthday's coming up this Sunday.
Yep.
That's so crazy, 29 right?
29 again.
Like how many times? That is like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh, you have my birthday?
That's pretty cosmic.
Right? Yeah. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Joanne.
So I am a teacher. I teach special education at Stoneman Douglas High School. And as a part of our healing process, we met through, like you said, the Mind Body Medicine groups. And we just hit it off from there. We just have become fast friends, and we've enjoyed working with each other and sort of complement each other. So it's always fun working with Kendra.
Well, thank you. Well, one of the things that's happened with you over the last year that I am so impressed with, and couldn't believe it. I was just looking on social media, and it was during the pandemic, and you have lost 45 pounds in a year and a half.
Yes, yes.
Now, most people during the pandemic gained weight.
Correct.
But you somehow were motivated to lose weight.
Yes.
And
yes.
I just think that's really awesome. And my last podcast, one of my podcasts was about motivated to lose weight. And so I thought I got to have Joanne on here because, I've trained people, but someone who's actually done it, how they did it.
Right.
I think that's going to motivate listeners more than anything. How'd you get motivated?
So. I really hope so. Well, I think for me, I had been one of those people that had tried all different kind of diet system, fasting, all that kind of stuff, and always struggled with being a little bit overweight since I had probably been heavy for maybe 25 years. And I had, like I said, tried a lot of different things. And a girlfriend of mine told me about the third week of January, I think it was in 2021, she said, my friend lost some weight on this plan. And I'm like, what is it? And she goes, I was kind of desperate, I guess. And she's like, well, she lost about 40 pounds. And I'm like, okay, that sounds good. So what's she doing? And she kind of explained it a little bit. And I said, well, did she keep it off? Because that was always the struggle for me. I was able to lose, but I wasn't really able to maintain it. So right. I was looking for something that was a little bit different. And I didn't know if this would be it or not. But this friend of a friend had some really good results. And she said, well, she's kept it off for 2 years. And I'm like, whoa, you mean you knew about this 2 years ago and you didn't even tell me?
Yeah.
So I was pretty like.
But the timing, I really believe in timing.
Yeah.
And maybe you weren't ready then.
Absolutely.
And it came when you were.
Absolutely. And plus there was another factor too. This plan was very different because it had a lot of built-in supports. It's a 4-prong system. And some of those supports that are built in and the systematic way they go about changing habits, that's what's kind of like installing software. I compare it to like installing software to be more healthy and to make those lifelong transformations.
Well, and that's the name of my podcast, which is Life Change Solutions.
Yep.
And as we go through change and we desire change, we hope to make those changes to be lifelong.
Absolutely.
So tell us how then you got motivated and then the process. What did you do?
So my motivation, I think, started with just desperation. Like I said, I was like, well, if you know somebody that it worked for them and they were able to keep it off, it must be something a little bit different, And I didn't really care what it was, to be honest. I didn't care how healthy it was. It was like beat me on the head with a daily stick diet. I'll do it.
No, and I know so many people get to that point and they try some really crazy things and then they just gain it back. So I love that you've kept it off.
Yes.
So tell us how it worked.
There was just some different components, but mostly I think the pieces that worked well for me was having, number one, public accountability. That's really tough. So you talked about how you see like my social media posting. That is a direct part of our system that we use.
Okay.
So the public accountability was helpful because I would, post different things about my journey as I was losing. I know, that's how I saw it. Yeah. I posted, like, I think within the first week, a picture of me with my finger kind of holding my pant waistline out to the side, and there was space in there. And I was so like amazed. So because I was able to get some quick results in the beginning, without, a lot of anything weird or suffering or, beat me on the head with a naily stick, it was a reasonable plan, that's what I saw as sustainable. So that was part of it. The other part was having a coach. So a big part of our plan is having a health coach. And kind of merging those two things together, I decided to become a health coach. So I knew if I became a health coach, then I wasn't going to be able to just, eat fries when I was sad or chocolate when I was happy or, just when I'm bored.
Yeah, because you're helping others.
Absolutely. I wanted to inspire others.
Well, that's awesome because I love that life change for you. And I was going to get to that is how has it changed your life?
Yes.
And it looks like you now became a coach and are doing something you love.
Yes. It's kind of revived my passion for helping people. Not that teaching isn't one, but it has changed over time. And I'm just looking to do something a little bit different now as I'm, kind of a senior teacher, if you will. And I'm just looking, like I said, to help other people in a way that's, it just, when they get gains and wins and I can encourage them, I'm also encouraging myself along the way. So.
Well, it must make you feel good. I was just on a podcast today and we talked a little bit about getting to this age where you've been doing something your whole life and then maybe you want a little change.
Yes.
And this guy started his podcast because he wanted this change and he started playing the guitar. And I think that's really important so that life isn't stagnant. And I talk about when we get into our 50s and 60s, what happens is we'll either stagnate or we need to give back somehow.
That's true.
And that's one of Erickson's stages of life is these ages, and giving back gives us purpose. Nice. And so even though you're doing teaching, this is giving you something a little bit more.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I love that. So for our listeners who are thinking, oh, my life is boring, try something new.
Absolutely.
So I love that. I love that you're doing that. So now you lost the weight, but you haven't really told us, what is the plan? Is it you have to take a lot of supplements? Do you have to, or tell us a little bit.
So it is a 4-part plan. One part being the education or the learning of the new habits, micro habits. We install them, slowly. Then the other one is the coaching, which I talked about, someone to, take you by the hand basically through the steps. The other part is the community. So, and that's similar. That's very similar with the coaching. You have people that have done it, people that will share tips and tricks with you. And then the last part is the nutritional piece. So in the beginning, when you're in the weight loss phase and looking to accomplish those goals first, we focus on the nutrition a lot. And the nutrition is made by a company that's been around for a really long time. And we just got awarded the #1 weight loss company in America a 3rd year in a row.
Nice, yes. Nice. Yeah. Well, at the end, you can let us know what that is and how people can contact you. But there's a couple of things you said that I'm going to be touching on in another podcast. And that is that life coach.
Yep.
And then also the community.
Yes.
So what we've found in making change is having support is so essential. if you try to do it on your own, it's so much harder. But when you have even if you have a friend you're doing it with, but having a community, 10 times better.
Exactly.
It's like our mind body groups.
Yes.
Having a group, we have so much more success because that energy.
Putting that mastermind together, that mastermind energy. Yeah.
And we talk a lot about energy and how that energy helps to really help us connect and feel good. And when we feel good, we're motivated more.
Yeah.
So I love that. I love that approach because I get a lot of clients and I'm their only support system.
Yeah.
The trainer. And they see me once a week and I'm like, yeah, you got to do more.
Point. That's a good.
You got to do more. You got to have that community. I love that. So, and then tell us, then I suppose that is what helps you maintain it if you're in that sense of community.
Absolutely.
Or
yes.
Can you give us a little more detail about how to maintain after you've lost the weight? Because a lot of people do. I know this. I have clients that had come to me. I'd won every time she had a dance competition. She would come to me to lose weight.
Oh.
And then she would gain it after. And I said, this would be so much easier if you would just maintain.
Right.
And, every time she was going to a ballroom dance competition, I have a dance competition in 4 weeks. We got it. And I was like,
crunch time.
Okay. This would be so much easier if we just maintained it. So how do you do that?
So part of it is within the community, you're learning new habits too as well to install. Just replacing things that we may have been doing before that weren't as healthy, just simple things like drinking more water, but also things you might not have thought about that tie in with overall health. Because once we get you to the weight that you want to be or your ideal weight, then we want to talk about ultimate health. So it's not just about the weight, it's about the overall picture of your health. So things like sleep play into it. So we talk about that. And
so
of course,
my last podcast, my podcast out this week is on sleep.
Yeah.
So, and how essential that is to losing weight.
Absolutely.
In fact, in my books and with my clients, the first thing I ask them is, how much sleep are you getting a night?
Right.
Because without sleep, your body's going to just hold on to everything.
Yeah. It's a part of our intake process as well. And we do a health assessment. We give a free health assessment to kind of tailor make a plan for each person. And that is one of the questions we ask. We talk about how frequently they eat and what time they eat compared to what time they wake up. Like, when do they start eating, that kind of thing.
Oh, interesting.
We talk about how much they're drinking, which, includes water, but may include some other beverages as well. We talk about that, the amount of sleep that they get, and then healthy movement.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people have kind of transitioned over to sitting jobs, and they say like sitting is the new smoking. It can be really bad for your health.
Yeah.
So my husband now works from home. He wasn't before COVID. So
do you get him out walking?
I do. And we have like a mini trampoline outside, and we've got the little elliptical outside. So, and I like to put them outside because I think getting the fresh
vitamin
air
D
and the nature and the sunshine, can be all kind of be helpful as well.
Well, I love that you're walking with your husband, because I'm counsel couples every once in a while. It's not my main clientele, but I tell them, go for a walk every night and hold hands. It will not only will help your health physically, it will help your relationship.
That's so good.
So
yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's true.
So I love that.
Good way to get together.
Yeah. So the maintenance program then really is.
So we teach people in general how to eat, every 2.5 to 3 hours, 6 smaller meals per day.
Okay.
And in the beginning, you're relying more on the company's nutritional formulas and only having one meal that you prepare on your own. And then after that, that's kind of like your training wheels of teaching you how to create a healthy meal. And then what we'll do as they approach their goal weight is we'll shift to more of the foods that they're preparing in this balanced way and less of the formulated products. The formulated products are created by the company over 30 years ago, and they include everything in them. So it's super simple. There's no like figuring out your macros and all that. It's prepared for you.
Right.
It's super easy.
So and me, I'm very much on eating clean foods, and I don't do any of the prepared foods and all that. But I think for some people, the way that they were taught to eat, they don't know portion sizes. They don't get, hey, we need this, and this. We need a protein. We need a carb. We need and so I think that probably helps those clients to be able to then have more success. And then they're like, oh, I only need this. I don't need 5 times.
Exactly.
And one of the things I hear is how much protein people think they need.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
They think they need so much protein in a day. And I'm like, your body can't even process all that protein.
Right.
And it's bad for your kidneys.
Right. Exactly.
So really, I'm a big proponent of getting your nutrients from your food. So I love that you transition them into doing that.
And even the formulas are no additives, no artificial sweeteners, all that stuff. Yeah. So it's
good, because I really don't like artificial sweeteners.
No, we don't do any of that.
Good. Well, that's awesome.
Created by Dr. Wayne Scott Anderson.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, tell me a little bit about how it's changed your life, because I noticed you're wearing pink lipstick, a pink shirt.
Yes.
Tell us how life has changed for you.
So thinking back to the dreaded heavy days, I was not happy. That's the overall picture. I was not happy. Everything in my wardrobe was black. Everything was designed to hide this or that. I'm a big time outdoors person, a water person, and I wasn't happy how I looked in my bathing suit, So everything was about covering up. Even when I would take family photos, I would put my son in front of me. He was always positioned in front of me. You'll notice in those photos where I was heavier and my face is fuller, I'm in the back and William's in front, or David, or the picture is strategically cropped with only half of my arm. And I was like, Joanne, that chopping off half of your arm or your rear end, that does not solve the problem. Looks better in the picture, but in life. And my health, I really felt was headed the wrong direction.
Yeah.
When I turned 50 in particular, I just started to feel like I was really getting old. And I heard a great quote. Someone said, you spend half your life over the age of 50. And so in other words, you got a long way to go. You can't just give up and go, I'm done,
No. And that's so interesting, because I spoke with my massage therapist who had gained a lot of weight. And he basically said that. He said, he's 55 and he had just said, oh, well, what the heck? And then one day he's eating ice cream and he was thinking,
I'm not done.
I'm only 55. Yeah. I have a whole life. And then he that one thing, that one thought, motivated him to then get back to the gym. Yeah. And I think being over the pandemic really was hard for him as well. And he lost 27 pounds.
Yes.
And I think it is just that click. Sometimes you just get a click in your head, okay, I call it a turn on switch.
Yes.
All of a sudden I've had clients and they're working out and nothing's happening. And then all of a sudden it's like something turned on and bam, they lose 25 pounds.
Right.
And I think once we get that, we oh, I got to do something. I can do this.
Right.
And maybe just saying, I can do this.
That's true. The mindset is a huge part. And I think, like you said, that whole community thing, it ties in with the mindset of having to be on the road to where you want to be. And so,
so now you're wearing colorful clothes.
Yeah.
And I seen you in your, on Facebook and Instagram, and you're wearing sleeveless and you're wearing bikinis.
Teeny bikini.
Yeah.
And I normally wouldn't be, face bragging like that, but I hope that it will inspire someone. I really do, because I remember how miserable I was. I remember if my husband had a company party, thinking, what can I shove myself into and, and still walk and look okay and not embarrass him. So there was a lot of negative feelings about myself, and it's such a weight lifted to have that gone. But there were some physical things that improved too. And I can't say that the plan that I used does not make any medical claims. I'll just put that out there. However, for me, what happened was I no longer had acid reflux.
Oh, wow.
So when I would lay down in bed prior, when I was heavier, I would always have Tums by my bed. And I was like, this is not good. I mean, I was actually excited when they came out with a new flavor of Tums. It was like a coconut pineapple or something. And I thought to myself, what kind of old lady am I?
That's so funny.
That I was excited about a pina colada flavored Tums.
So, and people don't know that Tums actually pulls calcium out of your bones.
Absolutely. So I noticed, after a short time, I was like, oh, I don't need those anymore. And then the burning sensations I had in my hips and in my knees when I would go to bed, I think because the type of teaching I do, I'm on my feet all day. And I think when I would lay down, I would probably notice it. It was probably happening in the day too, but I just didn't notice it.
Because you're just busy doing
go.
Yeah.
And so, so that wasn't happening anymore. So that was nicer. So then I could sleep better, and that all kind of tied in together. And just, my hair looked better, skin cleared up, just a lot of, and I had more energy. When you're in fat burn mode, you actually do typically have a lot more energy. So I didn't have to pump up on coffee and stuff like that in the afternoons. I really don't need it anymore. So then again, I can sleep better in the evening because I'm not having that afternoon coffee that messes with you.
I love that.
So, yeah.
In fact, I did actually talk about that in my Motivate to Lose Weight, is that caffeine will really affect your sleep.
Yeah.
So, I talk to people. I don't drink any caffeine, but those that do, to not drink caffeine after 1 o'clock.
Right. Absolutely.
So, and I love that your bones and everything felt better, your joints, probably because you changed your eating, and the stuff you were eating before caused inflammation.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And then when you start to eat clean, guess what? The inflammation goes down.
And I have to tell you, I was nervous. I didn't know if this plan would work for me. And I was especially nervous about not consuming sugar anymore. I know that sounds weird, but I remembered trying to quit sugar before, and I was just not a nice person. My husband's like, maybe you should eat a little sugar.
Sugar is highly addictive.
It is.
I've heard it said it's more addictive than cocaine. Don't quote me on that, but I've heard it said that it's more addictive, and I believe it. We have everything is sugar.
Yep. It's hidden in everything. Yeah. Sauces and different.
And that will also cause inflammation.
Right.
Sugar and salt are the two big things that cause inflammation. Right. So you probably ate less sugar, ate less salt.
Right. So
and then you felt better.
Yep. Feeling better automatically. So
great.
Yeah.
Okay, so these are some good tips for our listeners. And now with the holidays coming up, I was thinking about some tips because, of course, everything is sugar during the holidays.
Right.
Cookies. In fact, I was just invited to a party, and I said, what can I bring? Big mistake. They said, bring cookies.
Ooh,
I'm like,
nope.
Is there anything else I could bring? Like a veggie tray?
There you go.
So I think if we could give our listeners some tips as the holidays are coming up of what they might be able to do instead, or some tricks of the trade or things that have helped you.
So I was watching a video that my support coach made. It was called Thriving Through the Holidays, and she just did a remake. It's so good. And I can't remember all 10 tips, or 11, I think she gave, but we could go back and check it out another time. But some of them were, I think the ones that stood out for me was, number one, set a goal. You decide before you go to an event. What do you want, to do when you're there? For example, if you're already in a fat burning state, do you want to stay in that fat burning state? How do you want to feel the day after that party? How do you want to feel the day after Thanksgiving? Do you want to have that food coma, I hate myself, regret? Or do you want to say, no, I killed it. I nailed it. I stayed in fat burn and I still enjoyed myself.
Yeah.
So the way, some of the ways that you could do, number one, like I said, is deciding what you want out of it. You may have certain things that you do want to eat, for example, that might not be in the healthiest category. Like maybe grandma has a special recipe for stuffing or something like that. But there's a huge difference between eating, let's say, 3 bites of it. That's what creates your endorphins and lets you really enjoy it, versus eating, an entire 2 cups of it.
Or getting seconds. Just say, I'm going to enjoy and savor just a little bit. One of the things I learned when I lived in Italy was they savor each bite.
Right.
And they don't have huge portions like we have in America. So if you just, before you go in, say, okay, I'm going to have this much. You visualize too in your head, I'm going to have this much. I'm not going to have 2. I'm going to have maybe, 3 tablespoons or something like that.
And you enjoy it and you don't have the guilt afterwards. So that's important too. So some of the other strategies were to don't save up your calories for that one meal. So some people like to not eat all day. That's like one of the worst things you can do.
Because then you overeat.
Yes, because you go in there hangry and then it destroys your willpower, because our bodies weren't designed to get in that hunger state, then our bodies start thinking we're having an emergency and we're not. But so
eat a little bit before. And I know we used to do, I used to think, I can't eat anything because Thanksgiving dinner, I'm going to, and then I was feeling sick after because I ate too much.
Yeah.
And my grandmother used to have this, she said, if you eat too much, all you got to do is go to the living room and roll around on the floor.
Oh, Lord.
That was her. Oh, she was a character, but I loved her. But yeah, she, I don't think it really worked, but
no.
It was kind of fun to do as a bunch of cousins rolling around on the floor.
Can imagine.
So yeah, 24 cousins,
Good memories.
We didn't all do that.
So that's another strategy that we try to instill and offer to people is think about the memories that you're creating at the event, not so much the food itself or the drinks, but the actual memories, the conversations. Getting in there and asking people questions to draw out, getting to know them at a better level, or just letting them talk about themselves a little bit more, and really making those connections to other people instead of just diving into the food. But simple things like, drinking most of your daily water before you go to the event can be helpful. Using a smaller plate, like what you talked about, can kind of trick the eye a little bit so that you're still having, a variety. Survey the entire selection before you
get
go.
Something, yeah.
And then you decide. So when you're presented with the whatevers, you can decide, no, I'm not having that one, but I'm going to have the other one.
Yeah.
And then what you were talking about, bringing a dish. If you bring the healthy dish, then that there's something there that you can snack on, right? And you're inspiring other people because they're watching you. And especially if you've started losing weight and it's starting to show, they're looking at you.
To see what you're eating. Yeah.
And you may start a whole fitness revolution in your family, what a great legacy.
I know whenever I go somewhere, I'm the one who brings the salad because then I know at least I can have some salad.
Yeah, exactly.
And I make these fabulous salads. So they're just colorful. They have every color of the rainbow in them. And
that's a really good strategy also, making it presentable. Sometimes when I photograph my food to put it on Facebook, I'll try to put like a flower vase or, a gold coaster there. I put it on a nice placemat or on the marble, to make it look nice. And I enjoy it, that mindfulness and eating slower and thinking about the nutrition in the food, where the lettuce came from, the sunshine that shined down on the lettuce that helped it grow, and the little birds that flew by.
I love you brought that up. I love you brought that up because we, in our mind body medicine groups, we actually do a mindful eating.
Right. It's one of my favorites.
And that was, I think, very impactful for a lot of our group members that they can really savor and taste.
Really enjoy it.
So if we can remember that. So in fact, we had talked about doing a mind of body medicine group to lose weight.
Yes.
So focusing on that. I think that would be awesome.
I love it.
So if we have that, we are going to, I'll post it on my podcast and let people sign up. I'm still trying to figure out how to do links for signups and all that. Technology is not my thing, but I'm working on it.
You have other great qualities.
So yes. So well, thank you. But that's awesome. So that's one of my things. I may have to hire someone to do that.
And I'm telling people also to maybe think about, there are, I don't know, a little less, say little less than that, 60 days till the end of the year. Because a lot of people do decide to start, whether it's weight loss or better health, on New Year's. There's only 5 or 6 meals in between now and then. So are you really going to delay your results, just for those 5 or 6 meals when there's probably 300 meals between now and then?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a great time to get started.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think, a lot of people say, I'm going to do it after Christmas.
Right.
I'm going to do it after Christmas. But then you binge out and then you have so much more to lose. Yep. So why not start at least modifying?
Right. At least starting instilling those healthy habits,
right.
the eating the smaller meals, the drinking the water.
Or having one cookie instead of 10 cookies.
Yeah.
And just saying, I'm going to have, and I'm going to pick one thing that I really want to have.
So I encourage people to get involved with the community piece, as soon as possible, and the coaching as soon as they're ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've loved this conversation because, of course, I am a health and wellness professional. I've been in the business for 38 years. That's and great. A personal trainer and a fitness instructor. I still do that.
That's great.
I teach several classes a week. And it's kind of my thing to give back because I love it. But also, I just feel like for me, I went through this kind of a funk, like, am I going to be teaching water aerobics the rest of my life? And then I reframed and it was like, you know what? This keeps me in shape. Why wouldn't I want to do that? And I think sometimes reframing our thoughts to those things like, why wouldn't we want to start now instead of start later?
Absolutely. Because
we're going to feel better. Yeah. We'll feel better through the holidays. We'll look better through the holidays.
All those pictures.
Yeah. So, and we have time. So Thanksgiving is coming up.
Yep.
Actually, I'm not sure if this is going to air before or after Thanksgiving, but then Christmas. So let's work on those things. And
absolutely.
Thank you for the tips. They were awesome.
Sure. Good.
And thank you for being on my podcast today.
I love it. This is fun.
And I hope you have a very happy birthday.
Thank you. And you too, my birthday twin.
Yeah, I know. And, for your birthday, I'm giving you a book.
Yay.
My book. Here you go.
Working on that mindset. Thank you.
Yes. And then, how can people reach you? Because I know you are a coach and I'd love for them to be able to reach you. So how can our listeners today reach you?
The easiest way is to use my cell phone number. I don't mind giving that out if that's...
I will put it in the notes. I don't want to, announce that.
That's
but do you have you have a Facebook page.
Facebook page is the easiest way to
So
reach me.
I think maybe that might be better than the phone number.
Yep.
And then also, do you have a email they could maybe?
Yes, I do. My email, do you want me to give it?
Yeah, and I will also put it in the notes.
So my email is Jo Wallace, spelled JOWALLACE 1133 @gmail.com.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So your Facebook is Joanne Wallace.
Right. Joanne Harrison Wallace.
Oh, Joanne Harrison Wallace.
Yep.
And then your email. And I will have them in the notes for all of you listeners so that you can contact her because she is a health and wellness coach.
Right.
I am too. Right now I'm a little busy. I have several clients and I'm doing this, but I would love for you to contact me at My Life Change Solutions. I have a webpage and also a Facebook page. So look me up and also please follow me on this podcast. And if you liked this or any of my other podcasts, please leave a 5-star review and write a review. And if you ask a question or leave a comment, I will respond to that. I brought in experts. If I don't know what to say, I will, or if I don't know the answer, I will bring in an expert in the field. Like we have our expert today, Joanne Wallace, who is now a life coach, and she has lost 45 pounds. Yay. So shout out. And then you can also reach me on, I said my email, and I'll have that in the notes as well. So I'm also on YouTube. So many places, Instagram, just find me. If you leave a message on this podcast, I will respond to it. And I know it's a little tricky. Apple Podcasts make it a little tricky. Spotify kind of too. So I always leave the directions on how to leave a message for and a review at the bottom. So if you are listening to this, make sure you look at the notes and then you'll know how. And again, thank you all for listening. Thank you for following me. And thank you, Joanne. This has been an episode of Life Change Solutions. a guide for hope, health, and happiness.